So I got a bunch of questions yesterday about what the Synclavier in the first place sort of is. And the best way to kind of think about it is it's ultimately like a DAW from 1984, 1985. Many of the concepts that we use, that a lot of people use today, come from this system. So this is the VPK. This is the controller that controls the actual tower. And the tower is out there in the live room for us. And then this is one of the views. This is the MC bin. So when we're working on a remix, when we say we're doing hardware, some of this stuff is samples being triggered by the internal sequencer. The Synclavier is a sampler sequencer FM synth, okay? And it can sequence its own sounds, meaning the FM synth, the samples that you sample inside the Synclavier or external instruments, kind of doesn't care. So you can see with the remix we were working on yesterday, these are some of our tracks over here. These are the loops that we recorded from the TR-909. We wanted some of the 909 feel, so those are actually loops. So if I go over here and recall one of those sounds, this is actually playing out a loop. So that's basically put down on the sequencer, and each of these sequencer tracks, if I light them up, for example, I can solo them and isolate them from each other while we're working, or even for arrangement purposes, play that. In this case, on the actual sequencer itself, it's linearly kind of going through the whole song. That's how we set this up. And again, I can just kind of keep calling sounds up. Now, somebody was asking me about vocals, and those, I believe, are on, let's see, if we go to 23. In the middle of the night, take your heart out. Let it be on winter without a doubt. Again. So it's like a whole section of the song. So in this case, we sampled, for this remix, it was only verse vocal and the chorus vocal. And when we are editing samples, like the vocal sample, we go to the sound file editor, which again, it's basically like Pro Tools, it's visual waveform editing. We can scrub around, find the points we want to edit. We can zoom in areas, and it's quite contemporary. And it's remarkable that this is, waveform editing from basically 86, as far as I know, which is what a lot of the software is from, is so intuitive, fast, and basically the same as Pro Tools or any kind of DAW waveform editor. I can show you also similarly from this one kind of keyboard, I can also call up any MIDI instrument. For example, the bass line is a mini Moog, which and if I, there we go. And the cool thing about the Synclavier is I can go to the recorder display and call up whatever track I want to look at. In this case, track 17, that's the mini Moog. And this is kind of where you edit notes. So this is very familiar to people that use trackers. But most of the time when we're working on things, it's live input for us. So a lot of this we're laying down by hand. A lot of this we're putting into the sequencer. Some things are quantized, some things are not, but it's coming from the keyboard itself, including rhythms. And if I need a different way to play that, I go to trusty old BeatStep Pro, and sometimes we use it as a sequencer for more complicated runs. Other times, just to have access to pads. We also have some drum triggers. If we're doing very complicated Simmons runs, we usually get Coleman to play some of those things in. And when you put everything together in this really elegant workflow and this really simple interface, it becomes more about the music itself and listening and bar counts than it is about anything else, really. And that's why we love working this way, because it's so fast, and you never have to kind of leave this sort of quick workflow that ties the entirety of the room. So the other thing is, the whole idea with Infinite Power Studios was always to sort of think of the studio as a comprehensive instrument, meaning that it's about how all of this gear sort of works together. And the beautiful thing about the Synclavier is it's a good centerpiece, but it's also about all of these other components and how they work together. And a big part of the sound that comes out of here, and the sound that I'm really interested in exploring, is the total sum picture. So everything goes to our outboard. I'm going to show you that right now. This right here is a wing of our outboard. So if we need equalization, if we need additional drive from a mic preamp, if we need some compression, whatever we're doing, we can route those signals via our patch bay over here. And then all of that comes to the mixing console, which is this absolutely stunning Neve 8424. And the Neve sums all these signals. We have 16 outputs from the Synclavier sampling. We have 2 from the FM, and then we have all of this gear, you know, including the drum machines have their own individual outputs too. And from here, we're able to send all of this stuff to get processed by hardware effects. And that's basically the workflow. That's the hardware workflow. When we do need to do Pro Tools stuff, you know, a lot of times what it ends up being is just printing a 2-track, but oftentimes we also go straight to tape. And really, there's nothing as amazing as getting all this hardware happening live and going straight to a tape machine. It's a sound.